The last video I posted about Obito Uchiha was very controversial, to say the least, when I stated that Obito is the stupidest, dumbest character in the Naruto universe. A lot of people had some things to say about him, and you have to understand that my criticism is not necessarily towards the character himself, because the character doesn't exist. My criticism is towards the writing of the manga/anime, which didn't do a good job portraying Obito as an intelligent character, and there's nothing I can do about it, really. I am going to tackle another Obito subject here, and hopefully you guys are going to understand my point, but if you don't, that's fine as well. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel and like the video to make sure you receive videos like this one in the future, and keep on supporting this channel, and feel free to disagree with me in the comments below. The thing is, I really don't like Obito after he drops off his mask. I preferred masked man Obito for so many different reasons, and I think that once Obito loses his mask, he becomes a really boring/bad character, but I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, so now I'm going to explain why. First of all, I am not one of those people who says Obito is a creep because he wanted to be with Rin all along and he started a war because of Rin, because that's not true. It's just something people come up with because they want to trash talk Obito and say he was stupid. But that's not the reason why his motives were stupid. Obito did not start the 4th Great Ninja War because of Rin. He started it because he saw the world as a very bad place with losers, with death, with destruction, and he wanted to do away with that, casting infinite tsukuyomi, which would mean every single person in the whole entire planet would be a winner and a happy person under the illusion of infinite tsukuyomi. Now, many people in the comment section of my previous videos said that Obito actually didn't want to escape into the infinite tsukuyomi, that he wanted to rule with whatever 10 tails powers he would have with everyone inside the genjutsu. But that really doesn't make much sense if you think about it. Why would Obito even do that? Who would even rule for it? Because everyone would be inside those cocoons and under infinite tsukuyomi, so they would essentially be paralyzed and under an illusion. Obito would have no one to rule over, so he definitely wanted to escape into the infinite tsukuyomi as well. That was one of his goals when achieving that plan. Obito didn't know there was an extraterrestrial threat from the outside, from the Otsutsuki clan, so he was really not into the plan where Kage was gonna come into Earth and take over everything, and Momoshiki as well, so he didn't know any of that. There was no reason for him to meddle after the infinite tsukuyomi is cast. He was going to go into the illusion as well. A lot of people say that Obito was just doing that because he was a simp for Rin, and that's the only reason why he was doing the entire war and all that. Because of Rin, because Rin died. And yeah, he does say that, but that's not why he is warring against the Shinobi Alliance. He starts the war because he sees that this world is bad, as I mentioned before. Rin dying was only the catalyst for him to understand, and of course, Madara was the one who sweet-talked him into executing the infinite tsukuyomi plan. Madara did a pretty good job making Obito do everything he wanted to. The only time he didn't do what Madara wanted him to do was when he absorbed the 10 tails inside of his body. But the problem with that is, Obito was not a very well-motivated person to begin with. And a lot of people will say that he was an analog for Naruto. If Naruto went wrong, Obito would be what Naruto would have become. And yes, that's definitely what Kishimoto was going for, but you just have to remember that Kishimoto had done that 2 times before Obito already. The first time with Gaara in part 1 in the second arc of the series in the Chunin exams. Gaara was supposed to be what Naruto was going to become if he didn't receive love and care from Iruka, from Kakashi, from Team 7 and all that. Gaara was all alone the entire time, and that's what he became. Naruto was going to be that if things didn't go so well for him in the first place. So Gaara was the first Naruto analog in the series. The second one was Nagato. It's really obvious. Nagato was also prophesied to be the one who would change the world. The Sage Frog says that Jiraiya's student would either change the world for good or usher in a catastrophical age of despair. And Nagato mirrored that perfectly with Naruto. Nagato being the one who could possibly usher in despair, and Naruto the one who could break the cycle of hatred. It's very obvious that Naruto and Nagato were very close characters. Nagato was the Naruto who didn't go right, the Naruto who chose the path of hatred. And yes, that's exactly what Kishimoto was going for when he made those two characters. They were even students to the same dude, Jiraiya. So when Kishimoto goes about doing Obito with the same routine of Obito being the Naruto who went wrong, it really gets repetitive during the war arc. Yes, we get it. If Naruto didn't get love and all that, he would have become someone like Obito, but we've seen that before with Gaara and then with Nagato, so there was nothing really new about it. The only more interesting thing was the dynamic Obito had with Kakashi, but that was kinda boring, to be honest. It was very repetitive. There were 1,000 flashbacks with Rin, and we get the point. You were very good friends, and Obito was supposed to be a good guy if things hadn't go so bad for him, but really there are characters who have backstories much richer and more interesting than Obito and Naruto. Even Kabuto, who's not my favorite character by any chance, had a more interesting backstory than Obito because his backstory had been rehashed 1,000 times already in the series, and we've kinda seen the Obito's backstory before. Of course, that Naruto being the one who changes Obito back makes a little bit of sense, but I think it would have been more impactful if Kakashi had done it, because Naruto was just a dude Obito met, you know, in the work and all that. Maybe a little before that, but they only spoke for real during the war. And of course, Naruto is the guy who performs the Naruto talk no jutsu, so that's his specialty and all that. And that's in line with the series themes, but still, I don't think Naruto had a relationship with Obito that even warranted a redemption to the good side. I think Kakashi should have been the one to do that, because Kakashi was Obito's friend, and Kakashi knew Obito better. Now, maybe Naruto was the one who was able to get through Obito because he has that gift of getting to know people and understanding them and sympathizing with them and all that. But nevertheless, I never liked Obito's redemption anyway. I've always got the feeling that the entire Rin subplot was kind of forced upon the audience, and they meant us to care about Rin, but honestly, I never gave a damn about her at all. Even in the Kakashi Gaiden arc, I didn't care about Rin. I just cared about Kakashi, and Obito was like, oh, I guess that's Kakashi's friend. He gave him the Sharingan. I think that's alright. I don't really care too much about it after that. When Obito was quote-unquote Madara, I just think he was a better character, not only because he looked cooler, he sounded cooler as well, with those catchphrases that, well, they were made by Madara and Obito was just repeating them, and of course, he seemed much more intimidating. When he loses the mask, he loses the mystique. And no, I don't think that Toby being someone else would have benefited the series. I just don't really like how Obito was written after his mask dropped. Of course, he was not the simp everyone says he is. He wasn't doing all that just because of Rin. He was doing that because the world was rotten and Rin was the catalyst to all that, but nothing more than that. But still, his motivations seem extremely shallow. I mean, just compare him to Madara Uchiha. Obito, well, he got smashed by a rock, and then he saw one of his friends / love interests die in front of his eyes. That's definitely not a good thing for you to experience. But then, switch places with Madara. Madara, when he was 8 years old, saw like 10 of his brothers or close relatives getting murdered in the warring states period by other clans, including the Senju clan. Madara only knew war his entire life. Obito fought in the war for a bit, got crushed by a rock, and then saw Rin die, and that was enough to make him snap. Yeah, I think he isn't really mentally strong, and when he loses the mask, he loses the cool factor, to be honest, and that's the biggest turnoff for me. He was really cool when he had the mask, but when he dropped the mask, when Naruto broke that mask, I just think he got kind of boring, you know. Okay, we know who he is right now, and he doesn't look very cool now. And sure, Madara fighting alongside him from the get-go whenever he loses the mask really didn't help, because just you can't really compete with Madara in terms of coolness or even character development, so he was definitely overshadowed by Madara, and then he got to be the Jinchuriki of the 10 Tails and all that, and that may have improved things for him. But I don't really see that. Things just became the same. He was just a little bit more powerful, and then Naruto and Sasuke came in and defeated him in a very lackluster fashion, to say the least. I never thought that the majestic attire Susanoo fusing Naruto's Kurama avatar with Sasuke's Susanoo should have been done against Obito, because to me that's a very ending of the series situation there. It's one of the most insane power-ups Naruto and Sasuke had, and one of the most symbolic things between the two. I think that should have been saved for the final villain, which, by the way, should not have been Kaguya and should have just been Madara anyway. But yeah, I don't think Obito is a bad character. I just don't really like him very much whenever he drops his mask, because let's be real, Madara is much better / cooler than Obito, and when Obito was pretending to be Madara, he was much better and cooler. Whenever he drops his mask, he becomes this whiny brat that, oh, this world sucks, you let Ren die, Kakashi, now I am going to cast infinite tsukuyomi and make sure the human species is exterminated. Yeah, I kinda get the feeling Madara, whenever he casts infinite tsukuyomi, wouldn't let the species be exterminated by letting everyone just be inside the illusion. He would probably cast some genjutsu on them to make sure they would further the species. I think I'm just rambling at this point. I just don't really like Obito. Frankly, it gets really tiring the 7th time you see him getting smashed by that rock. And I'm not just talking about the anime, because of course the anime exaggerated on the amount of filler episodes, but the manga also really dialed that in. That was one of the annoying things in the manga. Yeah, we know Obito's backstory, Kishimoto, we're done with that. Can you move on? Yeah, I know he was trying to make a point, but I just didn't really like it. And what can I do about it? Not much. Anyway, subscribe to this channel and like this video. Thanks for watching.